Hey everybody, another episode of Coach Gio. Life hacks for optimizing gym performance, getting the most out of your workout. Today's arm day, that's why I'm kind of stripped down. I like to see what's in the mirror. What I'm going to explain to you today is a variation of techniques that I use to optimize shoulders, bicep and tricep day for me. Right now I've got set up, we're doing a tricep. Heavy, medium, light weights are on the floor. I'm doing like 50, 25, and like 15s to finish. I like to call this around the world, meaning we're gonna hit the shoulder, rear, lateral, and front, and I call that around the world. And then we'll tie it all back in to go to the rear in one set. This is gonna be a monster set, and it's a truly, in my books, volume training at its best. I like to use wraps, and I like to use a belt, just because, hey, a little bit older, I want to take care of myself, and I always do this type of stuff seated. I mean, you can do it standing, but frankly, I'd rather have the stability of a seat, and I can position myself appropriately to hit the target muscle that I'm looking to hit, right? And if you're not feeling it, then move yourself in the position where you're gonna feel it. So, this is gonna be a tricep, meaning a heavy weight, a medium weight, and a light weight, moving through the rear shoulder, laterals, and then front shoulder to finish, and then tying it back in with the rear shoulder. How this looks like is I use my wraps, again, so that I'm not concentrating on the grip itself, and it's just hanging in my wrist. Second, as far as the rear move, and when you think about the shoulder, look at my shoulder. This is classic cannonball look. If you dissect it, about 60% of that shoulder is rear deltoid. About 10% of this muscle is lateral deltoid, and the rest of it is going to be the front deltoid, and that comprises pretty much the shoulder head to get you that kind of like that round look. So you want to start with rear shoulders. The position is a V type, where you're going to come back at about 10 degrees. And this is a heavy weight. You're not really looking to go high. This is almost a cheater rep. I know I'm gonna get some haters. Just trust the process. You're gonna love it. Trust me. So you're working through, and again, rep range, 12 to 15 as normal. Now, if I start getting tired, which I'm feeling this, I'm gonna immediately grow into an A frame instead of a B frame. Turn it over to A frame. Now I'm gonna focus on almost a shrug. It's still a lateral, or a rear shoulder move, but I'm almost trying to aim my elbows to the ceiling. And again, activating that rear shoulder to get that 12 to 15 mark. Once I'm there, drop behind you, grab the medium weight. In my case, it's gonna be 25. Again, sit. Because this is the lateral head, I'm gonna sit up a little bit higher. And again, I'm gonna lead with the elbows. Pretend you're a rag doll and there's a string from the elbow. You're leading to the elbow to the ceiling. You notice I'm not going very high. This is almost a 3/4 rep. Still, you're engaging that lateral head. If you want to engage more of the rear, again, 10-degree offset to the rear will accomplish both lateral and rear head activation when you do this. Again, 12 to 15. Drop. We're gonna finish this around the world with the last segment, which is 15s. Now we're targeting the front or anterior delt. And how we're gonna do this is straight upright, come up, bend the wrist slightly forward, and point the bell slightly downward. So it's about a 10-degree drop on the front of that dumbbell. So instead of this, don't do that. You're gonna curl it toward the front, so you really activate the front delt. Again, 12 to 15. And like I said, this is around the world. So we're gonna go back and tie in the rear shoulders we went really heavy with, and now we have a chance to tie it back in by going and hit the rear delts with lightweight, really squeezing that sponge, volume training at its best. You've got what, 12 to 15 reps per segment. That's a lot of reps. Trust me, you're gonna feel this. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think once you try this. You're gonna be a believer. Trust me. Oh, you just getting some angles?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're carrying on with the shoulders. We did this dumbbell work, tricep, and again, it was around the world. That technique I showed you back in the previous video, you can look at. And this one, we're gonna complement it with cables. Love cables to finish. It really brings out that pump. Again, chasing the pump is what you're after. Looking for separation. This is how you're gonna get it. Cable work for me, golden. And that's on all arm movements, number one. So you should try and incorporate that whenever you can. So we're gonna incorporate the rear, lateral, and front head of the delt by looking at the angle that we're attacking. I've only got 10 pounds of working weight on this. It's really about bringing out the sponge at this point. This is a finishing exercise. So we're gonna hit rear delts. If this is the pull, I'm gonna put myself at a 10-degree offset so that I'm pulling and hitting the target muscle, which is the rear delt, rear head of that shoulder. Just like this. And it's gonna be a V pull, right? Inverted grip, right? And again, lead with the elbow, not the wrist, right? Just feel it out. Make sure that you're hitting the rear delt. Again, rep range 12 to 15 is the golden rule. You're squeezing that sponge. From here, you're gonna continue with that tricep. We're gonna hit middle. So I'm gonna move my angle to the pull, right to the side, lateral. Again, I'm gonna point my thumb to the floor at the top, right to engage the middle and front delt, or you can just engage the middle. It's up to you. Again, go by feel, really feel it out. Now you're gonna finish with front delt. You're gonna face the angle of the pull. You're gonna pull past midline to the opposite temple of the head. So it looks like this. You're gonna engage the front delt. This is how you really lock that movement in. And right away you get into the other arm. Again, 10-degree pull, offset to the angle of the pull, and you're looking rear shoulder. Complemented with lateral. Again, 90 degrees to the pull. Gonna hit the middle head. Finish it off. Front delt, opposite temple. Notice there's very little rest between those transition points. This is one big ass working set. Welcome to the big leagues. Let me know how that works. Okay, so Coach Gio coming at you with tips to optimize your training session. We are talking triceps. So this is the inner head tricep, which happens to be the bigger of the two inner and outer heads. And this literally represents 3/4 of your arm. So when you go to flex, if you look at it, that's a lot of beef back there. And it's the inner tricep that is doing that. The outer tricep completes the horseshoe. In order to get that thickness, you got to work on close grip benching to do that. Other movements around the elbow look at separation, really. So it's the pressing moves that will give you the thickness in the arm that you're looking for. As far as the bicep is concerned, really it pales in comparison to the size of the tricep. I mean, when you go to flex, yeah, it looks impressive, right? But really, the bulk of the arm is really the inner head of that tricep. So, what I like to do is close grip benching, but I like to do it with a little bit of a twist. I don't have very much on the bar. You'll see in a minute, and you'll appreciate why. What we're going to do is an inverted grip instead of a straight on or a supinated grip. We're going to do instead of a prone grip, we're going to do a supinated grip, and that is a reverse grip. So it's going to look like this. And of course, it's going to be declined because I want the force to come in through the bottom third as opposed to being flat. And again, you will feel the difference. But give it a shot and let me know what you think in the comments. But you're going to look for the marks, grab it about so that you are at the armpit is where you're looking to put this, the grip. And when you come down right down, squeeze the elbows into your sides and then press straight through. If you like, I like to engage my core so I keep my feet off the bench. So give yourself a complete disadvantage to this move. And you will feel this in the lower third of the inner tricep, which is the meat of this muscle. Rep range, 12 to 15. Set range, 5. If you choose to, you can do a superset simply by moving the grip to the regular position, close grip again, or even closer. And again, keeping the elbows tight to the side. So when you press, you're squeezing the chest right up to the ceiling. Again, train with intention. Think about the muscle target that you're shooting for, and you will hit that target, I promise you, every time. Now, total rep range was about 20, 15 reverse with 5 to finish, and it's a good burn. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think in comments. Get after it. Yo, Chase, you haven't asked me about my shoes.
What's up with the shoes, Coach G?
You digging them?
I like them a lot, man. They're fresh.
But sometimes it is about the shoes.
It's always about the shoes.
Anyways, Coach Gio coming at you. We're doing arm day. Just got finished got finished shoulders, then tricep. Now we're transitioning to bicep. By now, if you haven't figured it out, I don't like recipes. So what we're gonna do for triceps is a combination of different techniques so that, again, I'm a big proponent of muscle confusion. Because again, when you do a recipe, you get stagnant. So the way to keep progressing in muscle development or hypertrophy is to keep your body guessing, change the volume, change the intensity, but always keep in mind the target, train with purpose, and then the intensity is what you're after. Those are the big 3. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do a drop set. But the drop set is gonna include one big ass negative, so I'm gonna do the stack. I'm gonna have Chase pull me up on the wrist weight. So we'll do a slow descent over 15 seconds for a negative. Then I'm gonna drop the weight to like 50% or even 60% of the load, and then continue with reps. And the reps, again, 12 to 15, or toward the end, what I like to do is employ a 5 and 5 technique. Again, just to wring out that sponge, bring blood into the muscle, chase the pump. And that 5 and 5, if you remember, is a 5 rep with a 5-second hold, and you're gonna continue that cycle for 3 to 4 cycles. Total rep range, 15 to 20. Again, make sure the weight is appropriate so you can get that rep range. So let's start with a negative. Chase, I'm gonna ask you to give me a hand. We're gonna do that negative. I'm gonna do the stack. Let me grab it. Pull it up for me, bud. On 3, 2, 1. And again, this is a controlled descent. Think of it this way. You ain't stopping the bus, but you can slow the bus down. That's all what this is about. The most critical part of this move is when your forearms are parallel to the floor. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where you're gonna slow that descent really down so that you can control the final 10 degrees. Squeeze out. That's the top end. I'm gonna drop this to like 50 pounds. As an extra kicker, I'm gonna put my hips behind the seat and hang literally from my armpits, squeezing my elbows in so that I can work on the bicep, inner bicep, or the baseball. Full rep range. I want you to think about a tabletop grip, which means at the top, if you notice my wrists, they're cocked so it looks like a tabletop, and I'm cradling the bar in my fingers, but it's literally hanging in my fingers. All the work is done with the bicep, no forearm, no wrist. Again, because of the grip that you're using. Just like this. Again, chase the pump. Work with intention. Think about the target muscle. Don't let me down. Don't let you down. Keep at it. Chase it. Trust me. Trust in the process. You're gonna love it. Oh yeah. Yeah. Feels so good. Let's chase that pump, man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, is it better than an orgasm? I'm gonna argue maybe. Okay, we're in the last lap. This is set 5. I am completely gassed. So what we've been doing is negatives, superset that with volume, which 12 to 15 reps at about 60% of the weight. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do 60% of that weight, which for me is 65 pounds. But I'm gonna employ the 5 and 5 technique we talked about. 5 reps, 5-second hold. I'm dead. Now it's a matter of just squeezing the sponge. I'm looking for putting as much blood into that muscle as I can. My last working set, and I'm gonna really, really shoot for the stars on this one. Again, put yourself in the position where your elbows are inside of the grip of your hands. Kick your feet away so that your hips are behind the chair. Put yourself at a maximum disadvantage to the chair. 5-second hold. Yeah. Rinse and repeat, baby. Rinse and repeat. Remember, this is a finisher for me. 5 and 5s are one of the best finishers you can use at the end of a working set. Remember, set 5, think about using this. I want you to leave comments. Let me know what you think. If you've never done it, I'm gonna make a believer out of you. Trust me, this is your new religion. Just did 15 reps, 5-second holds in between. I am completely spent. I've just left everything on the table. Get after it.